There are moments in life that carry an unusual quality. A conversation, a sentence in a book, a chance encounter, a piece of music, a landscape glimpsed at exactly the right time, a stranger's remark, a dream, a coincidence, a sudden insight. Most experiences pass through us without leaving a lasting impression. Yet occasionally something different occurs. Time seems to slow. Attention sharpens. A subtle feeling arises. Not necessarily excitement, not necessarily certainty. Something quieter, something deeper. A sense that this moment matters. A sense that this is somehow for us. Many people describe such experiences in remarkably similar ways. It felt meant to be. It was exactly what I needed. It arrived at the perfect time. I couldn't ignore it. It felt like an answer. These statements point towards one of the most mysterious aspects of human experience. Why do certain moments feel different? What gives them their unusual gravity? Why do some encounters pass unnoticed while others seem to alter the course of a life? The common assumption is that meaningful moments are special because of what happens. Something rare occurs, something improbable, something extraordinary. And certainly there are times when unusual events contribute to the feeling. Yet if we look closely, many of the most meaningful moments are surprisingly ordinary. A sentence spoken over coffee, a walk through a familiar place, a passage in a book, a song heard for the 100th time, an unexpected conversation, nothing objectively dramatic, yet something within us responds. Something recognizes itself. And perhaps this is where the mystery truly begins. Because meaningful moments may not be defined by the event itself. They may be defined by the meeting between the event and the person experiencing it. Consider two people reading the same book. One closes it unchanged. The other finishes it with tears in their eyes. The words were identical. The pages were identical. The ideas were identical. What differed was the relationship. One person encountered information. The other encountered recognition. The distinction is profound. Information adds something new. Recognition reveals something already present. This may explain why the most transformative moments often feel strangely familiar. People frequently describe profound insights using language that seems paradoxical. I already knew this. I had forgotten. I remembered. It felt true immediately. These statements suggest that recognition operates differently from ordinary learning. Rather than inserting something into consciousness, recognition appears to awaken something that was already waiting there. Something latent, something unfinished, something seeking expression. Perhaps this is why meaningful moments often arrive during periods of transition. Moments when life is changing, when old certainties are dissolving, when questions have become more important than answers, when something within because we become capable of hearing. There is a subtle difference. The event does not create the meaning. The event reveals the meaning. The event becomes a meeting place between an outer occurrence and an inner readiness. And when those two things coincide, recognition emerges. This raises an intriguing possibility. What if meaningful moments are not messages? What if they are meetings? This perspective changes everything. A message implies transmission from one place to another. A sender, a receiver, a piece of information traveling between them. A meeting is different. A meeting involves participation, mutual presence, relationship, the creation of something that neither side possesses independently. When two people meet, a relationship emerges. When a musician meets an audience, an experience emerges. When a question needs an answer, understanding emerges. The meeting itself becomes creative. Perhaps meaningful moments work in a similar way. They rise when an inner condition encounters an outer event under precisely the right circumstances. Neither alone is sufficient. Together they create recognition. If this is true, then timing becomes central. One of the most curious aspects of meaningful moments is their apparent precision. The same book read 5 years earlier might have meant nothing. The same advice heard 6 months later might have been ignored. The same opportunity encountered at a different stage of life might have passed unnoticed. Yet when the timing aligns, everything changes. The experience lands, it reaches us, something collects. This does not necessarily mean that events are predetermined, nor does it require us to believe that every meaningful encounter has been orchestrated in advance. It may simply suggest that meaning emerges through relationship, and relationships require readiness. A seed requires both soil and season. A conversation requires both speaker and listener. Recognition requires both encounter and preparedness. The moment feels destined because it arrives precisely when something within us has become capable of meeting it. This understanding also transforms the role of attention. Meaningful moments rarely occur when we are fully absorbed in control. They tend to appear when attention softens, when we become available, when we stop demanding that life conform to our expectations and begin engaging with what is actually present. Availability is one of the most underestimated qualities in human experience. Many people spend years searching for meaning while remaining unavailable to encounter, searching for answers while avoiding questions that matter most, seeking certainty while resisting participation. Yet meaningful moments often emerge when striving relaxes, when we become curious, when we begin listening, not merely listening to words, listening to life itself. There is another aspect to recognition that deserves attention. Recognition is deeply relational. It reminds us that human beings do not exist in isolation. Many of our most meaningful moments involve other people. Someone arrives at the right time, a conversation changes direction, a friendship deepens. A stranger says exactly what needs to be said. A teacher appears, a student appears, a companion appears, an encounter occurs. Again and again, meaning emerges through relationship. reasons meaningful moments often feel so personal. They involve participation. They involve connection. They involve the mysterious ways in which lives intersect and influence one another. The moment does not belong solely to one person. It arises between them. Perhaps this points towards a larger truth. Perhaps meaning itself is fundamentally relational, not located entirely within the self, not located entirely within the world, but emerging through encounter. If this is the case, then meaningful moments are not exceptions to reality. They are glimpses of how reality may operate more generally. They reveal that life is not merely a collection of isolated events. It is a web of relationships, a field of encounters, a continuous process of participation. Most of the time we move through this field unconsciously, yet occasionally something breaks through. A moment acquires unusual brightness, an encounter carries unusual weight. A simple experience becomes unforgettable. Recognition occurs, and for a brief instant, the deeper relational nature of existence becomes visible. This may explain why meaningful moments often leave us changed. Not because they deliver new information, but because they alter relationship. We no longer see ourselves in the same way. We no longer see the world in the same way. Something shifts, a door opens, a possibility becomes real. A question deepens, a direction appears. The moment becomes part of us. Not because we understood it completely, but because we participated in it. And participation transforms. So why do certain moments feel like they were meant for us? Perhaps not because they were imposed from outside. Perhaps not because they were manufactured from within. Perhaps because they emerged at the precise meeting point between life and readiness. A meeting between circumstance and consciousness. A meeting between question and response. A meeting between longing and recognition. A meeting between who we have been and who we are becoming. The moment feels personal because it is personal. Not in the sense that the universe revolves around us, but in the sense that reality and consciousness have entered into relationship. Something within us has met something beyond us. And in that meeting, meaning appears. Perhaps this is what recognition truly is. Not the arrival of information, not the solving of a puzzle, not proof of destiny, but the sudden awareness that life is participating with us, that we are not merely observing existence from a distance. We are meeting it.